You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what He actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday, happy Moon Day, and happy almost Virgo season. The sun is at the final degree of Leo right now, and Virgo season starts tonight. So if you're joining me live, say hello in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling about Virgo season starting. Leo season feels like it flew by. It literally feels like we were just talking about Leo season. And if you're finding this video later, we're going to talk through today's energy, Monday, August 22nd, and then we're going to talk through the major transits coming up in Virgo season. So I'll add markers to the timeline after we're done going live. You can jump to any of the transits you're curious about and get an overall check on what Virgo season is going to look like in 2022. Hi, Rose. Hi, Rachel. Hey, Corby. Thanks for being here, everybody. So let's start with birthdays. This is a fun day for birthdays because we get to play the game, are they a Leo or are they a Virgo? So James Corden is celebrating a solar return, celebrating a birthday today. He kind of gives me both Leo, Virgo vibes. Kristen Wiig, I believe, is a Virgo, but don't quote me on that. I don't know. Ty Burrell is celebrating a solar return today. Let's see, anyone else on the edge of Leo Virgo? Giada De Laurentiis, she's a famous Italian chef. Ray Bradbury is a Virgo, the famous author, or maybe a Leo, who knows? August 22nd birthday. Anyone else popping out to you? And if it's your birthday today, let me know. Are you a Leo or are you a Virgo? If you don't know, you can find out by getting a free copy of your birth chart. A lot of people talk about, oh, I'm on the cusp of one or the other, but there are many astrologers who say the cusp does not exist. You're either a Leo or you're a Virgo. The sun is in one sign or the other. So interesting to have a birthday right on the edge of two signs. Rose says, I have lots to do today, so hoping the Virgo energy comes through to be super productive today. It's interesting because, you know, the sun is at the anaretic degree of a Leo, which gives us this kind of like urgency or need to jump into that Virgo energy. So I can tell you're already feeling it. You're like, I have so much to do. Virgo season is coming. Hello, happy Moon Day. All right. So let's get a current check on the energy. The sun moves into Virgo tonight. The moon is in Cancer today. So a nice supportive energy. It's kind of like this, the moon being in Cancer is like a soft pillow to land on. Virgo, Leo energy is pretty energetic, energized, and the Cancer moon keeps us in our feels a little bit, starting off the week a little bit slower maybe. It's Moon Day, ruled by the moon. Cancer is ruled by the moon. It doesn't feel like our emotions are like super sensitive today, but we're definitely in tune with our intuition and with our emotions. Feeling sleepy, did not want to wake up. Excited for Virgo season though. Your body is preparing you like Virgo season is coming, right? Okay, let's take a look at the current energy. Starting with the sun moving into Virgo, that's the big thing we're talking about today, right? So taking a look at the current chart, you can see the sun at 29 degrees in Leo over here. And, you know, anytime we talk about an anaretic degree, it's a little jumpy. We might be feeling this burst of like boldness, just like taking full advantage of the end of Leo season. Let me know if anybody else feels like this Leo season just literally flew by. I mean, I do not know where the past month went. It's just time is flying right now. But let's talk about Virgo energy. What does Virgo energy bring? And mind you, if you're new to the channel, those of you who are very familiar and who are my regulars know I'm a double Virgo. I'm all that Virgo energy. But if you're new, welcome to my Virgo-ness. So here we go. The sun moves into Virgo at 8:16 tonight. What does that mean though? So Virgo season lasts exactly a month in very Virgo fashion, precisely from August 22nd to September 22nd this year. And just a reminder, the sun in astrology represents our life force energy, our identity, our ego, our self-expression, our personality, willpower, kind of that spirit within us, that light within us. You know, the sun is that energetic light that gives us all life. And in astrology, our sun represents that life-giving force. So when the sun is moving through different signs, we express our life force energy in different ways. The sun rules Leo, so we've been very in tune with that sunny energy, that very vibrant, magnetic, fiery energy over the past month. The sun moving into Virgo is a little bit of a different vibe. And something I feel called to say is that I really feel each astrological season builds off of the next. So the sun in Leo kind of lights the spark within us. And Virgo season shows us, okay, what are we going to do with that spark? Virgo is all about productivity, getting things done and doing it with excellence. Doing those things to perfection. Virgo is known as the perfectionist. It's the sign of the Virgin. So there's this element of purity and cleanliness. There's that stereotype that Virgos like everything to be clean. Now we know that not all Virgos are clean freaks. In fact, I know Virgos who are very messy, and I myself can be very messy. But it's all about the organizational structure. Most Virgos, you know, even if they are messy, probably know where everything is. You know, they have an organizational system in their mind that they're keeping track of everything with. Virgos are all about details, about the small parts that make up the big picture. Virgo rules the 6th house in astrology. So it also is associated with health, wellness, our daily routine, productivity, and it's ruled by Mercury, so very communicative, very analytical. That's where that detail-oriented, perfectionist nature comes in, because Virgos and Virgo energy is always analyzing all the little details, taking note of every T being crossed, every I being dotted. And because of that, Virgos can be very critical. And we can all be a little more critical during Virgo season. Now, critical thinking is important, right? It's important to be able to analyze our surroundings and to be able to gain a greater understanding by paying attention to the fine print. But when we're too in the fine print, it can be easy to put expectations on other people or be overly particular about what we like, how things should be in our view. So we want to make sure we're not being overly critical during Virgo season, and we have high expectations as Virgos, and all of us can really hone into those high expectations and standards that we have during Virgo season. But it's important, and take this from a Virgo who is still learning this kind of the hard way, not to put our expectations on other people, not to have such high standards that the people in our life can't meet those standards and then they feel like they're inadequate. We feel resentment, you know. So that's not to say Virgo season is a negative time, because excellence can come from Virgo season. Clarity can come from Virgo season. We are more tuned into all those details and we can make sense of things more easily right now. We're very in our head. It's a very analytical energy. We just don't want to be overly critical, overly analytical, right? So that's the essence of Virgo season. And like I said, the sun will be moving through Virgo from August 22nd to September 22nd. During this time, we can expect all those themes to pop up. I really think it's interesting. 22 has been playing a big number lately. Leo season started on July 22nd through August 22nd. Virgo season, August 22nd to September 22nd. So, 2022, there's a big theme with twos coming up right now. And, two, I'm not a numerologist, but it feels like things are coming together. It feels like partnerships are forming. So just an interesting tidbit there. Today's a great energy to tap into the numerology and the vibe of the number 2. Let's see. Anything else we need to talk about with Virgo season? I was just talking to some friends over the weekend about how I've noticed that I draw in a lot of Virgo placements and a lot of Aquarius placements, not just in my life, but in my audience. It's really a cool thing to be able to see that with astrology, see the different archetypes and energies I call in with my energy. So let me know if there's anything else you want to add. I know we have lots of Virgo placements in the comments about Virgo season and what's to come. Great time to take a look at your schedules, your routines, making sure you're incorporating health and wellness into those things. Virgo rules our digestive system, so great time to maybe not start a diet. That's not the word I want to use, but assess your health, assess your nutrition. How are you treating your body? Organized mess over here. Yeah, same. It looks nice from the outside, but there's like a big bin of pillows right here that you can't see. So I definitely feel that organized mess energy of Virgo season. Leo season definitely flew by, Corby, for sure. Let's see. Anything else about Virgo season? I also want to note service. We didn't really talk about service. Virgo is the sign of service. So when we get caught up in our expectations and how we want other people to perform for us, the standards they want them to meet, a really great reframe during Virgo season is coming back to service. How can I be of service to someone else? Is my criticism serving them, or can I maybe be helpful in some way? Not like, let me help you do it my way, but this is what's been helpful for me. How can I share that with you? Do you see the difference in the energy there? Instead of like, you should do it this way, this is the right way, being like, hey, let me share something that's been helpful for me. Take it or leave it if it's helpful for you too. So coming back to that element of service, I always love to say, probably very egotistical of me to say this is a Virgo, but like Mother Teresa was a Virgo, coming into that energy of serving other people. How can my analytical mind, how can my perfectionism even serve other people? So it's not so much about the self and getting ahead, but the good of all, the highest good of everybody. There's a lot of intention packed into Virgo season, which is what I really love. Because we're so honed in on the details, we can be really intentional about the conversations we're having, the actions we're taking, all that good stuff. How can you be of service to others? What intentions are you putting into your daily routines? And from that mindset, you'll be surprised by how much you're going to get done during Virgo season. It is a season of productivity, my friends. It's no reason, it's no coincidence, I should say, that it's back to school season, right? Like, we're getting all the little supplies in order. We're getting excited about everything we're going to learn, all the things we're going to do this school year. We love that Virgo season is back to school season. It just makes sense. It just makes sense. Rachel says, being a Virgo, I've noticed I attract a lot of Geminis. My mom is a Gemini, my best friend is a Gemini, and my other friend is a Gemini rising. So yeah, Gemini rising ruled by Mercury. Both Geminis and Virgos are ruled by Mercury. So, we tend to have that similar communicative, kind of fast-paced, flighty energy, liking a lot of skill sets and just getting things done. Like, Virgo is more the productive energy of Mercury, whereas Gemini I see as more of the gathering energy, like gathering all the information, and Virgo's like taking it and analyzing it and doing something with all that information. That's how I see it. But yeah, totally makes sense. And I'm curious, Rachel, is your South Node in Gemini? Because my South Node is in Gemini, and I notice I'm very comfortable around Geminis because of that. Like, I probably was a Gemini in a past life, you know? Just getting over a stomach bug and was notified yesterday that I was exposed to COVID last week. So the universe really asking you to hone in on your health and wellness, pay attention to even the small things you're eating, maybe incorporating more greens into your diet if you don't already. Just taking little small steps towards your overall health is going to be really powerful during Virgo season. All my Virgo family members are so in their heads, so over analytical. What's the phrase again? Paralysis by analysis. Yes. Yeah. We are thinkers. We're thinkers. Yeah. We can be very overly analytical, overanalyze, even a little obsessive. I mean, I've got some Scorpio in my chart too, so that definitely plays into it. But my Virgos out there, remember, we don't have to live up here. Doesn't have to be perfect right now. We can release the grip a little bit, let things flow, let things unfold. And as a Virgo, a huge mantra that helped me along my journey and still helps me is focus on what you can control, because Virgos like to be in control and we can't control everything. So only focusing on what you can control, that can be super helpful. How can I make this useful? What can I do right now versus analyzing all the possibilities and all the things that could go wrong or that you want to do or should be happening. You know, focus on what you can control. Your Lilith and South Node are in Virgo. Virgo season is probably going to be very comfortable for you and maybe very powerful as the sun crosses over your Lilith. You might have this renewed sense of, I could see wanting control, speaking of control with Lilith and Virgo, but I could see this being a really powerful time for you to have some realizations about control and what control means to you. And, you probably like to be in control with your South Node in Virgo. Yes, South Node in Gemini. Yeah. So once I noticed that, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm so comfortable around Gemini energy. People I can just chat away with. We can have one conversation going, pick up another conversation here, come back to this one, start a new one, bounce around. I love that kind of environment. And Geminis tend to do well in that environment. And I notice people who aren't super heavy in Gemini, Virgo areas are like, this is overwhelming. Like, can we stick to one conversation right now? So that's the main energy we are feeling today, but we do have another transit to talk about involving Mercury, the ruling planet of Virgo. So definitely still in that mental mercurial energy. Mercury is harmonizing with Pluto today, and this is exact at about 3 p.m. Pacific time. So actually before the sun moves into Virgo, we experience this transit, and we're already feeling it right now. You can see on the chart that dark blue line, Mercury at 26 degrees in Virgo. Remember, Mercury is in Virgo in a place of exaltation where it has a lot of power here. We're able to see the details very clearly over the coming days, very much in that Virgo energy, maybe even overly in that Virgo energy, if you know what I mean. Pluto in Capricorn also at 26 degrees. So anytime Mercury and Pluto connect in this harmonious, balanced way, in this 120-degree angle, we want to have deep conversations. We can do deep introspection as well. This is about not surface level thinking, but taking things to a subterranean level. Being able to get intimate with ourselves can bring up profound realizations. And this is a flowing angle, so these insights can come up very easily. And also, Mercury harmonizing with Pluto, if we use this in our interpersonal relationships, we can have really intimate conversations and connections with people and connect with people on a deeper level with Mercury harmonizing with Pluto. Now, I do want to warn you, and this isn't a scary warning, but there is a tendency to obsess or overanalyze. Pluto brings in this obsessive nature, this compulsive nature, and As we just talked about, Virgo energy with Mercury in Virgo can make us really get stuck on something or fixated on something. So if you find yourself in that mode and you don't want to be in that mode, this could be great if you really need to focus on something and get a project done, or like really use your mental energy towards one thing. This transit is the day. Like if you had to write a research paper, Mercury Trine Pluto, like just dig in and dig deep. That is a great energy if you had to like research something or really use your mental energy to focus on one task for a long period of time. Yes. Now, if you're not in that situation, many of us are not, we could get stuck on an idea or a thought, or just find ourselves like obsessively researching something. We get this one idea and we're like all in immediately. So Mercury Trine Pluto, it's a fortunate angle. I personally love this transit. This transit feels a lot like my personal energy, honestly. But we want to make sure we're using this concentration, this fixation wisely. Insights can also flow through today. So just pay attention to what's coming up, what's coming into your awareness. It's coming up for a reason. There are no coincidences. And if it's something negative or scary, ask, okay, what are you showing me? How can I use this? Rather than being like, I'm just going to be stuck in this loop, right? Like, how can I use this? Mercury in Virgo wants to be productive with the thoughts that are coming into our awareness. There's also an element of influence here. The conversations we're having can be very influential. Pluto packs a punch. There's a lot of power with Pluto energy. So, again, coming back to the analogy of writing a research paper, whatever information you're putting out today could be very powerful and influential. And the same goes with if somebody is telling you something or sharing a new concept with you, it could be very powerful or influential to receive as well. So pay attention to your mental state and to the information you're receiving, as well as the information and communication you're sharing today. There's a lot of power in our words and in our thought process. Something else we have to talk about, not a major transit, but Mercury begins its shadow period today. While we're on the note of Mercury, Mercury stations retrograde on, let me see, September 9th. Okay. Mercury stations retrograde September 9th. So for the 2 weeks before and the 2 weeks after, Mercury is in what's called its shadow period. And this is because, of course, the planets don't move backwards. A retrograde means moving backwards. But from our vantage point here on Earth, if you were to look at like a model of the planet spinning, there comes certain points where the Earth and the planets start moving the opposite way, and then there are points where they're moving the same way. I don't know if this visual is doing anything for you, but essentially Mercury, from our vantage point here on Earth, or any of the retrograde planets from our vantage point here on Earth, appear to be moving backwards because of the way the Earth is moving. Now, during a shadow period, it appears that Mercury is starting to slow down because we're getting to this point where it's like about to switch directions, and it's almost this like, limbo, or this moment like, I'm thinking of like the Matrix, or like a movie with like motion animation, and there's like that moment where people are crossing and it appears to slow down. You know what I mean? So Mercury in its shadow period. Mercury is the fastest planet. It likes to move. It likes to be quick. But over the next 2 weeks, it starts to slow down a little bit. Pay attention to any glitches, tech issues, communication breakdowns, miscommunications, errors that pop up over the next 2 weeks. They likely won't be as dramatic as they would during a Mercury retrograde, but sometimes those little glitches are previews of what we're going to be reviewing during Mercury retrograde. So just be alert. Know that Mercury's in its shadow period. Those little issues could start to pop up. I've gotten a lot of feedback from people, and I feel the same way about the fact that once you know Mercury retrograde is coming, that we're in Mercury retrograde, that we're in the shadow period, it's a lot easier to navigate any issues or annoyances that pop up, because it's like, silly Mercury, rather than not being aware and being like, oh my gosh, everything's falling apart. What's going on? My phone's not working. Technology is an issue. Knowing what's going on, it's just like, okay, yes, this was to be expected. We can flow with it. It's all good. So just want to put that into your awareness that today marks the beginning of Mercury's shadow period. And it could also feel like the pace slows just a little bit, which is interesting because Virgo season does kind of feel like a faster pace, but we just talked about how quickly Leo season went by, right? It was like that burst of energy, that sun energy in Leo season, and Mercury's shadow period does feel like it's giving us more time to be productive during Virgo season in a way. My Virgo sun baby turns 1 next week, and he has a Leo moon, right? Is that the same baby? And we can already see he always wants to be in control. Yeah, that makes sense. Sending lots of grace to you. As a Virgo child, I kind of was in control. My parents had no chance. I was like, this is my show, everybody. Like, I'm just running it here. I've been thinking about how I can make this information work for me, what it is teaching me. Beautiful, such a beautiful realization. And yes to the control. Thinking a lot about it, reclaiming it after giving it away in the past. Yeah. And it's interesting, the concept of trying to control other people is in a way giving away our power, right? Like, we're trying to control everybody else and we're not focused on being in control of ourselves and our emotions. And by trying to make other people do things the way we want them to do it, it's like I'm focusing so much of my energy on you rather than just being like, I really like me and what I'm doing right now. And it's all good if you're not doing what I want you to. That's a really interesting way at looking at power dynamics and control dynamics too. Oh yes, Leo rising. So definitely bossy. Like, I'm here, I'm in control. I love that. That's a fun energy. Probably a handful, but a fun energy. Okay, so Mercury harmonizing with Pluto. Now let's talk about what's going on with the moon today, and then we'll quickly walk through the transits coming up this Virgo season. So, as we mentioned, the moon is in Cancer. It's the waning crescent moon. Saturday marks the new moon. So this whole week, the moon is getting darker and darker. We're going within. We are really in this introspective phase where we're surrendering. Very interesting that we're starting Virgo season on a note of surrendering, but there are no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason, right? So the moon is really helping us to release control and surrender as Virgo season begins. And it really does feel like a nice way to start Virgo season, just like hands off the wheel, okay? We're going to be productive. We're going to get things done. We're going to be analytical in Virgo season, but we don't have to do it all right at the beginning. Let's just wait till the new moon in Virgo to really get the wheels turning, and take the beginning of Virgo season a little bit slower and, really find that time to go within and figure out what are our intentions under the Virgo new moon. It's a really powerful moon to set intentions under because Virgo is so intentional and analytical and focused on the plans and the details. So I really do feel like this is going to be a powerful new moon, but leading up to it, this is a really beautiful opportunity to figure out what are our intentions. Take this week, take our time figuring those things out. So the waning crescent moon in Cancer, the moon is at home in Cancer today. I also see the next couple days with the moon in Cancer as cleaning our home, clearing out your space before the new moon. The waning moon and the dark moon is a great time to clean and declutter so you have that nice clean slate. And we really want that clean slate under a Virgo new moon in particular. We want to start from fresh ground, from this pure energy. So cleaning out your home over the next couple of days, decluttering, making sure you feel really comfortable in your environment. And that you can be fully relaxed and be in your emotions and in your own energy field in your home, So clean your house over the next couple days. Okay, a couple moon transits to talk about now. We started the day with a moon squaring Jupiter. This was at 8 a.m. Pacific time. and you might have woken up with some energy, or I know a couple of you said I woke up really tired. You might have woken up like exhausted if you extended too much energy over the weekend. So you can see the moon at 8 degrees, Jupiter at 7 degrees. That red line is that square we're talking about. When the moon squares Jupiter, it often can give us this surge of energy and optimism, but it's kind of like Icarus flying too close to the sun. We can burn ourselves, if we go overboard right away or have like these really high expectations, like we're just doing it today, we're gonna get the coffee, we're gonna do like I see this especially with the moon in Cancer, like grabbing the sugary coffee or the indulgent breakfast, and we're optimistic about how we're gonna feel today. But if we put out too much energy earlier in the day, we might peter out really early. So the moon squaring Jupiter does make us more optimistic to start the week, a beautiful energy to start a week under, but we want to make sure we don't go overboard. There's definitely this tendency to overdo it when the moon squares Jupiter. So, if you woke up feeling exhausted, it could just be your body already telling you you've overdone it. Like the moon in Cancer wants you to rest and release and surrender and slow down a little bit, even though Jupiter in Aries is like, it's fine, just do it, keep pushing forward, you got it. It's like the moon is like, no, we need to be slow and release and surrender. So there is that conflicting energy in this square, and that's why it can be easy to overdo it. So if you're feeling optimistic, lean into that energy, but also know that you can, siphon it or spread it out. Don't use it all at once, right? What are you guys saying in the chat? Let's see. Start slow. Absolutely. Definitely cleaning the whole house. Oh, your whole family will be together after 3 long years. That is amazing. So great energy under this Cancer moon, beginning of Virgo season, to clean out, get your space nice and tidy and how you like it and organized, so you can be relaxed and fully present when family is there. Perfect energy for that. Spent all day Saturday cleaning my house, so definitely leaning into that waning moon. Was going to do more yesterday, but I ended up falling and hurting my back, so I ended up resting all day. I had a huge rest day yesterday as well. So yeah, sometimes the universe literally pushes us down, makes us rest, especially those of us who are Virgos and want to keep going and being productive. I'm glad you got some rest, and keep leaning into it. Be gentle with your body under the waning moon in Cancer. Okay, the final transit we're talking about today. The moon at 10 p.m. Pacific time forms a conjunction to Lilith and squares Chiron. So, of course, Lilith and Chiron aren't major planets or anything, but the fact that this is all happening at the same time, just watch your temper tonight. That's the easiest way to put it. You can see the moon and Lilith over here. Lilith representing the part of us that wants to be in control, that doesn't want to be repressed, can come up in a pretty bitchy way, especially if our emotions are provoked. I could see us just being kind of mean or harsh or bitchy. And then Chiron forming a square to this over here. Our wounds can be triggered, pain can come up, and that can bring out our inner bitch. So if we're emotional, watch how we're reacting, right? Take a beat, take some space. Just know that we're going to be a little more aggravated and activated tonight, and those wounds could come up, and it might not be you, it might be somebody else. As I always say, give grace to other people under these tense transits. Luckily, it's minor. It's a moon transit. It'll probably fly by for us. Maybe you just go to bed early tonight, but as the night gets a little later, you might notice people are getting a little bitchy or crabby or snarky or just temperamental with Chiron being activated in this tense way. So notice what's coming up for you. It'll be Virgo season. You can analyze it, right? Have that intimate conversation with Mercury harmonizing with Pluto. These transits are actually supporting us during tense moments to be vulnerable. Mercury Trine Pluto is screaming, just be vulnerable. Just say how you're really feeling. Do it in a gentle way, as gentle as you can. Be kind, be mindful, be intentional about how you're communicating with Mercury and Virgo. Try not to be harsh. That's definitely a byproduct of all of this energy. Remember, there's a way to get to the point and get your point across without being mean or harsh in the process. Okay, that's what's going on today. Now let's walk through what's to come in Virgo season. What is ahead for us? We have some fun transits to talk about and some major retrogrades to talk about. 11/11 here on the West Coast as I say that. So here we go. Virgo season, August 22nd to September 22nd. What's to come? What do we need to know for Virgo season? Well, this Wednesday, Uranus stations retrograde. And when Uranus stations retrograde, all of our outer planets will be retrograde. We have Neptune, Jupiter, now Uranus, Saturn, Pluto is retrograde. So it's a retrograde party way out there in the Milky Way, right? And Uranus is the planet of rebellion. It's the planet of technology and innovation. So I see a lot of technological review. Remember, Uranus is retrograde until January of next year. So this is a long retrograde. We really feel the stations, but over the end of the year, the coming months, there will likely be a lot of talk about technology and the advancements we've made, as well as the environment and climate change. Uranus and Taurus over the past few years especially has brought a lot of awareness about climate change and the environment. So I see us reviewing a lot of these things that we already know, a lot of these advancements, a lot of the information that's come up, and also current revolutions around the world. There's been a lot of revolting happening around the world that could come up as well over the coming months, just reviewing these things. Now, on a personal level, we might find ourselves reviewing what it means to be authentic, what it means to march to the beat of our own drum. Uranus is eccentric, eclectic, doing its own thing, tilted on a weird axis, so what causes are truly important to you? How do you express yourself in the most authentic way? These are things that we'll be reviewing with Uranus stationing retrograde. Okay, the next transit, August 25th. So this Thursday, we'll be talking about Mercury moving into Libra. Mercury moves quickly. And so Mercury will be in Libra when it stations retrograde. It'll go back to Virgo in September and then station direct in Virgo, move back into Libra again. So we're playing with Mercury and Virgo and Libra for a while now. But this Thursday, Mercury entering Libra. I personally love Mercury in Libra. Again, I'm biased because I have Mercury in Libra, but with Mercury in Virgo, it's like we're so crystal clear and detail oriented. Mercury in Libra feels like a softer energy, a little bit lighter. We can have more eloquent conversations, relate to other people through those conversations more easily. Really just softens our communication, allows us to perceive different perspectives, weigh different options, rather than being like, this is how it is, period, as Mercury in Virgo likes us to think. This is more like, is it this or is it that? I want your perspective, bouncing ideas off of other people in more of a collaborative conversation rather than just being like, this is what I think. So yeah, beautiful discussions are possible, making plans that feel more beautiful. Mercury also ruling our schedule, building in more time for that spaciousness and that harmony. Mercury in Libra feels like just lightening it up a little bit when it comes to our mental state and the conversations we're having, the plans we're making. On August 27th, this Saturday, we have a new moon in Virgo. We talked a little bit about this new moon, all about starting fresh, a clean slate, setting pure intentions with that Virgo energy, looking ahead at the plans, how we're going to get there, the small details that are going to make up the big picture. I can see us being very particular with the intentions we're setting. Like, it's not just about the 5-year plan. It's about like what we're going to do in the next 2 weeks, month, 6 months to get to that plan. Virgo energy is very honed in on the how with that analysis component. And also with Virgo being the sign of service, setting intentions that are going to serve the people around you, serve your family, serve your community, serve the world. It's that famous saying, ask not what your country can do for you, but you can do for your country. But minus the country part. Ask not what others can do for you, but what you can do for others as you're setting intentions. We're excited about the work that lies ahead. Virgo is all about work and productivity. So it's like setting intentions about the work you want to do, whether that's in your career, in your job, or around your house. That will be very big. And this new moon is squaring Mars, which we'll get into at the end of this week. So it's really giving us that boost. Like, we're going to just do it. We're going full force ahead. It's kind of making us impulsive and spontaneous. Like, we're setting this intention and we're going to like go for it right now. We're just going to do it immediately. We just want to make sure, as we've been talking about with these Virgo themes, that we're not setting expectations too high, that they're unrealistic or they're going to make us feel bad when in 6 months we were like, yeah, I'm going to be a millionaire in the next 6 months. And then we feel disappointed, like we didn't meet our expectations when the full moon in Virgo comes around. So we want to be practical and realistic, which we can under Virgo energy, and also make sure the intentions we're setting don't have to do with other people, but just have to do with ourselves, controlling ourselves, not other people, right? I really love this new moon, though. I think it's going to be a really pure, beautiful energy to set intentions under. So we'll get into that on Friday. Next week, September 4th, Venus enters Virgo. So we're going to have a lot of Virgo energy playing out this Virgo season. And immediately I was like, the song Like a Virgin is playing in my head. It's the planet of love in the sign of the Virgin. So there's this pure, innocent nature to love, to beauty, and to money even. We're attracted to minimalism, cleanliness, both physically around us. I see Venus and Virgo being very like organizing our environment, making sure things look really nice, but also in partnership, in relationships, being attracted to people who feel like they have pure intentions or who are physically clean. Like I'm going to tell my partner, can you please shave your face all of Virgo season, or all of Venus and Virgo. That kind of energy, being attracted to people who feel like they kind of have their shit together, We also want to make sure, though, that our standards aren't too high. Using that example with myself, being like, I want you to be clean shaven all month. That's not ideal, right? In my mind, that would be nice, but I can't put those expectations on him. So we want to make sure we're not too critical in love with Venus and Virgo. Remember, nobody is perfect, but also you'll be surprised that you're attracted to people that feel like they just are grounded and solid and have it together. And that's not just in romance. That could be friendships. You might be drawn to more Virgo people in your life, or people who have that Virgo energy. And also in relationships, Venus and Virgo does feel like it can give us a little bit of a fresh start in a way. A clean slate in relationships too. Now, because Venus is also the planet of money, I also feel like this is a great time to do some accounting analysis of our bank accounts, looking at the financial plan, reading the fine print with Venus and Virgo, really finding thrifty solutions. Virgo energy can be very frugal too. So being like, okay, how can we cut costs here? How can we like really hone in on our finances, catching any errors in your account roll, whatever you want to call it, your bank statements. So there's an energy of analysis of money as well too. All right, Mercury stations retrograde September 9th to October 2nd. So basically beginning of September to middle of October, we're feeling Mercury's retrograde. And once Mercury stations retrograde, this season is in full swing. We have all the outer planets retrograde, and then our innermost planet retrograde. I believe the only planets that won't be retrograde are Venus and Mars. So yeah, it's going to be retrograde season. Lots of review coming up, and Mercury stationing retrograde seems to me like bringing a mental awareness to all the reviewing we're doing with all the outer planets retrograde too, really slowing down, feeling that slow down in a lot of ways. It could even feel like you're pushing up against time, like time is forcing you to slow down, especially in Virgo season when we want to keep going and producing and making things happen. Mercury retrograde is like, nope, I'm going to put some errors in the way, some blocks in the way to force you to slow down. Of course, tech glitches, communication issues, double checking travel plans. Wish me luck. Going on a huge trip during Mercury retrograde. So I just knocked on some wood, and I'll report to you all if that was a good idea or not on Instagram. But text messages could be sent to the wrong people, devices could malfunction, wires are easily crossed. Watch your words, it's easier to slip up. Let information slip to the wrong person, especially with Mercury and Libra. We just want to feel connected and collaborating with other people, and we could be a little bit people-pleasing and say the wrong thing to the wrong person. But use this transit, this Mercury retrograde, to your advantage by reviewing plans, revisiting any unfinished discussions, going back, revising things. That's the beauty of a retrograde. It gives us this slower window to revise what's already set in motion, to go back and look at what we've already started. The full moon in Pisces on September 10th feels like a huge release. Pisces being the last sign of the zodiac, known for healing, known for sensitivity, lots of crying around this full moon, and not even in a bad way, just in a nice way of releasing, letting that flood of emotions come through. This watery energy heightens our sensitivities, not only emotionally, but psychically as well. Pisces energy is associated with the veil and what's beyond the veil. So we're really tapped into energy that can't be perceived with the naked eye. We're more empathetic to how other people are feeling. Boundaries are blurred when it comes to energy. Psychic downloads can come through with this full moon for sure. Spiritual encounters can happen. Our guides can come through in really profound ways. So being open and perceptive to other kinds of energy that maybe don't make sense in our rational mind is going to be really powerful under this full moon in Pisces. It feels like this is a culmination point in a lot of ways of a lot of the insights that have come through really over the past 6 months, but especially over the past month and a half, because the full moon makes a connection to Uranus. And you guys know how much we've been talking about Uranus lately. So really using all those insights, using all the spiritual tools we've gained over the past 6 months, this is a moment to heal, to release, to let things go, and also to welcome in new insights from maybe other realms or from our angels and our guides. Anything that's not helping us ascend in consciousness can be released under this full moon so we can continue on our own spiritual evolution, on our own spiritual path. All right, and that's it. Those are the transits for Virgo season. So I'll post that to my Instagram in the next couple days. You can bookmark it, save it, see if you want to return to it at any time, or you can come back to this video at any time, and I'll, like I said, put the markers down so you can jump to whatever transit you are curious about. Thank you. I'm assuming this is about Mercury retrograde. I debated not planning a trip during Mercury retrograde, but then I was like, you know what? I got to live my life. So what's going on? Time to shave. When Venus is in Virgo, just make sure you're nice and clean. Oh, good. I'm glad you like looking ahead. Very Virgo energy too, like knowing what's coming, analyzing what's coming, right? How to prepare for it. Definitely. All right, let's go ahead and return to our affirmation of the day. There's beauty in the fine print. This is our affirmation of Virgo season. Finding the beauty in the details. You know, they often say there's the devil in the details, but there's a lot of beauty in the details too. When you just stop and look around, and like I just got a visual of a leaf, looking closely at a leaf and seeing all the veins, seeing, you know, all the life in just a single leaf. So really taking this time under the waning moon to slow down and find the beauty in the details. And we're going to pull from the Work Your Light deck by Rebecca Campbell. This deck feels very Virgo energy to me. I don't know why. It just does. And you know the drill. This is your time. Share any other insights you have about Virgo season, what transit you're most excited for that's coming up. If you're a fan of Virgo season, if you're dreading Virgo season, people have mixed emotions about Virgo energy. I love it, but that's because I am it. So I'm going to shuffle up here, make sure we have fresh energy in this deck. It's nice and clear for us. And then we'll take a deep breath together and see what needs to come through. All right, everybody who's joining me live, if we could just breathe in And exhale. What do we need to know? Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. I love this card. I've pulled it before, but it's been a while. So let's see what message it has for us. Where are you? Where are you, Anna? Are you here? Here we go. It's kind of an alphabetical order, but it has chapters in the guidebook. Anyway, Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Anna, grandmother of Jesus, was an ancient mystic who dedicated her life to laying the foundations for Christ consciousness to be woven through all of life. She is not widely known, but without her, Christ consciousness would not be rising as it is today. Anna represents the quiet dedication that is sometimes required to live a life of service. She represents the generations that came before that devoted their lives to dreaming a new world into being while knowing that they would not see the glorious end result. She represents the dutiful soldier, the unconditional mother, and the mystic who can see the thread that is woven through all of life. Anna teaches us that we all have a part to play in the divine plan. It doesn't have to be on the world stage to be significant. One person's part is not worthier than another. One person's part may be to mother their children. Another's may be to gather women in circle each month. No part is better or worse, more important or less significant. We each have within us a seed of light that we incarnated to share. Anna is gathering us all to remember and surrender to our part of the plan. We are all the small parts that make up the big picture. This is such a perfect card to begin Virgo season, talking about service, talking about how each of us plays a small role in the service of humanity, paying attention to those small daily acts, smiling at people, giving that little tidbit of wisdom to someone who might need it, extending grace to someone who might need it. These small acts make up the big picture of life. They are ripple effects, and it talks about lineage too, being the grandmother of Jesus, not really this widely known figure. Of course, we talk in the Bible, or not we, I don't really, but people talk about in the Bible, Mother Mary, right? But Mother Mary had to come from somewhere. So looking back at our lineage and the small roles that each person, each woman, each man played to get us to where we are today, the sacrifices they made, the service they made, so we can share our light today. I love this card so much, reminding us to be of service. Yeah, very altruistic card, definitely. And a great reminder to start Virgo season, because truly Virgo at its best is the sign of service, does want to help other people, does pay attention to the small details that can help other people. It's not just about controlling, it's about making sure that we're being intentional and careful in the best way, packing care into all of our actions. That's why Virgos can be so in our head, right? Because we're really aware of how every little thing we do can affect other people. And so this card is just the perfect reminder to be intentional, to keep service at the forefront this Virgo season. And remember, it doesn't matter if you're famous and this widely known person, your actions are so impactful to the people closest to you and to people you don't even know. So just a reminder, and a beautiful, beautiful card, the perfect card to begin Virgo season. Absolutely. All right, everybody, that is going to do it for this episode of Transits today. So excited for Virgo season to start tonight, to walk through the energy with you over the next month. It's going to be a beautiful season. I know it. Always spread love. Absolutely. I'm so grateful for you all showing up today, showing up for yourselves, showing up for this beautiful community we're creating together. I hope you're excited for Virgo season after this episode. If you haven't already, please go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel so we can keep growing our community, keep bringing in new people, serving new people with the content that we're creating together. I am so grateful for you all sharing your light in the chat every day. it truly is a co-creation with all of us that this stream is becoming, and I couldn't be more honored or grateful to hold this space for you all. So I love you. I hope you have a beautiful Monday. I know you're going to have a beautiful Virgo season ahead. We're going to be walking through it together, and I will see you right back here tomorrow morning. But until I see you next, stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.